The Way of Kings by Sanderson. This book is 1,007 pages long and has 76 chapters. So it is a beefy book and I enjoyed every minute of it. There wasn't a chapter that I felt like I needed to power through or just stick it out. All of it was really good story and universe building. So lots of flashbacks in the characters' stories to build history, that kind of thing. And all four of the main characters were relatable in some way. My favorite was one of the ones that is shown a little less, Shalin. She ended up being my favorite. I believe that I relate to her in that I am a bookworm and I'm also very stubborn. So that fit pretty nicely. She had a interesting dilemma in that, her family is having trouble financially. And so her solution and her family's solution is to steal from a wealthy individual who, they seems like she has so much wealth that she won't even notice that it'll be gone. And so kind of a Robin Hood-esque justification, stealing from the rich to feed the poor, or stealing from the rich to feed the recently poor who used to be rich, kind of thing. So that was kind of neat. It opens with another main character, the assassin in white. Shetz, I believe is his name. Seth, I'm not sure. Either way, he has some superpowers. He has one of the mysterious shard blades and the ability to jump really high and run on walls and that kind of thing. So it really opens with a bang in his assassination attempt of the king. And so that is a very quick, action-packed opening. We don't see a lot of him. He is a character that is talked about a little bit, but not as often as the other three. Dalinar is another main character. He is a high prince, so he was brother to the king, I believe. Yeah. And so he is very well respected. He is a general. They call him by his official title High Prince. He commands an army, one of, I think, 10, if I'm remembering right. Either way, lots of stuff happening, and they are trying to avenge the death of his brother, the king. So that's the majority of this story is based around the actions in the opening chapter, right? The assassination triggers a whole bunch of other events, which are talked about in The Way of Kings here. So this book took a while to read. It is a commitment, that's for sure. I liked it. I didn't even talk about the biggest character is Kaladin. So Kaladin kind of stumbles his way through into the battlefield. Lots of flashbacks to talk about his history. He is the most important character. It was difficult to relate to him, though. I didn't really want to be a soldier. I didn't have that desire, and I didn't really want to be a doctor or surgeon either. So it was difficult to relate to him. But he's kind of down on his luck. Things don't go his way. So that kind of made him a little bit relatable in that most of his endeavors that he tries fail. So, kind of makes you want to root for him as the underdog. The story, he has the most chapters, and that's where most of this book's effort is focused. I think they did a really good job with all of that. I really enjoyed the Spren. That to me was such a great idea, that they're everywhere, pervasive, and that they show up and there's different types. And it was such a great idea. Really cool. The shard blades, they didn't really seem like they had a weakness to me other than the 10 seconds to summon. It just seemed like it was almost an invincible sword that nobody can stop. So the first thing that I thought of with the smoke coming from the eyes, so when a shard blade kills somebody, smoke comes out of the dead person's eyes. And the first thing that I thought of was the Voidbringers. Like, is a shard blade creating more Voidbringers? That was my first thought. It seems to be debunked in this, but I'm not sure. I'll have to read more and find out with the next one. But I'm assuming it's a big book just like this one. There was neat ways that they made this relatable to you know, kind of like a European or an American history, in that the axe hound is equivalent to a dog, high storms analogous to a hurricane. So like it was kind of like, here's these things in this mysterious land, but it's also like relatable. So that was really nice. I liked that the currency is a sphere and it can glow, and the way that you make it glow is you charge it from a high storm. So I didn't like that the spheres had to be charged during a high storm. I get why, like it's part of the story, but I didn't like the idea of like, hey, the storm's almost done, I'm just gonna run through and grab all the spheres. So I don't know, maybe I missed part of it in there, but yeah, I could see somebody just stealing a bunch of spheres, and even the extremely wealthy people who had servants that would do that for them, how could they prevent a servant from just pocketing a bunch of spheres? So another thing that I wanted to mention is that the chasm duty, that was a really clever idea to get a private way for Bridge 4 to gather resources. So really neat. Also, one more thing before I get to quotes is that this edition had missing pages. There was 30 missing pages. So here you go. I've got page 832 and it skips right ahead. Like it's, I don't know. It was a printing error, at least according to Google. So I don't know, just be aware of that if you have a print version, that there can be 30 missing pages. So I didn't like that, if you can't tell. Quote here, authority doesn't come from rank, but from those who give it to you. This was Kaladin talking with Gaz, the bridge crew leader. You know, to me that stuck out as very ominous, right? You can be a leader without a title, and people follow you because they choose to, not because they have to. So I really liked that part. That stood out to me. I've got a bunch of other quotes here, but I'm only going to do two more. To lack feeling is to be dead, but to act on every feeling is to be a child. So this is Dalinar, the High Prince, main character, talking to Sidious, another main High Prince. I wouldn't call him a main character. I would say he's an important character. But yeah, so that was really cool in that, you know, one, Dalinar offers restraint in his in his war camp and his army, versus Sidious, who's just kind of like anything goes in his war camp, you know, less disciplined kind of thing. So I thought that was really neat, different kind of styles of leadership, or at least running an army. When men perceive the world as being right, we are content. But if we see a hole or a deficiency, we scramble to fix it. That was Kaladin's father talking with Kaladin. That was part of his backstory history and the townspeople coming for the spheres that he inherited. So it was a tricky one. It's a whole muddled situation, but it stuck out to me like that is something that I have come across in my daily life, right? Anytime there's a problem, scramble to fix it. Then no matter how big, no matter how small, like the urge is fix the thing that's broken. I don't know if that's a cultural thing, if that's a human thing, but it just seems like ingrained that is something that I go for and try to do. So again, this is a large book. It flew by. The chapters are just long enough that it makes you want to read more. And yeah, they were a great length, I thought. And Shallan was my favorite character. I really liked the Spren, and I can't wait to read the next book. So buy your books used if you can, and I'll see you next time.